Ladies and gentlemen, it's only a few weeks away. The Festival of King Island 2026 is all going to happen. And now you're curious who's going to play there. Well, we're going to give you a whole list and we're going to give you all the interviews with a lot of the performers over the next couple of weeks. And one of the first ones we talked to is Graham from the Stovies. Graham, welcome.
Thank you very much, Wade. How are you?
Very good. That's all the way in Sydney, long way away from us.
Certainly am. Yeah, it's enjoying the weather over here at the moment, even if my Scottish skin can't take it.
Yeah, no, you're still getting used to it.
Yeah, as I can do most of it. It's when it creeps above 30, I'm struggling, and I've got a 2.5-year-old who's just as Scottish as me. I don't think I've put a short sleeve on him yet because he'll burn when he looks at the sun. So.
Yeah, it can happen. That it's a little bit like that. But anyway, at the Festival of King Island, I can guarantee you I would last 13, 14 years. We had a few hot days, but usually it's mild, so it's not too bad. And we're at the ocean. There's a bit of a sea breeze, so I'm sure with your Scottish heritage you will enjoy it. I've no doubt. Now, people like to know, Graham, tell us a bit about the Stovies.
Well, yeah. Well, the Stovies came together. What was that? 3 years ago, kind of by chance, actually. I was, as a Scotsman, I found out there was Tasmanian Whisky Week, and I thought I've got to be a part of that. So I reached out to see if someone had a PA that I could use, and was put in touch with Neil Gray, the guitarist. He said, I've got a PA and I've got a room if you need it. And I said, well, I'm either going to make a nice friend or I'm going to get murdered. Luckily, I made a friend, and we basically played music until 1 in the morning and drank a lot of whiskey. And the next day, one of Neil's mates turned up, Bob, and we drank a lot of whiskey and played a lot of music for another night. And since then, we've just been playing together. Neil was actually born in Scotland, or he's from Scotland. His family are all Scottish, and Bob's got Irish heritage. So, you know, it was a fairly natural fit. And those two guys have been playing together since they were in their late teens, early 20s. They're now in their late 60s. I'm able to say that. So it's great. I've just slipped in, and those guys have, they've already got the harmonies there together, and I've just slipped in and done a bit with them. So it's been great.
So it almost indicates, are you saying that when you drink a fair amount of whiskey, you play better, or is that...
There's a tipping point there. So there's a certain amount of whiskey that after that, all the recordings get deleted. That's how it works. They never see the light of day. But no, we've got a shared love of that. The two boys are distillers as well, so that's their background, and it's something that we've all kind of grown up with. So yeah, it's a kind of shared interest that we've had. That plus music, we've got very similar interests in music, and we've led each other down rabbit holes of new stuff. So yeah, it's been great. It's been a really fun experience.
Well, you say Scottish and Irish blend very well. I know from the past, coming from Europe too, that Scottish and Irish not always blends. And I worked with a band once, also a mix of Scottish and Irish, and the argument was always, we have too many Scottish songs. No, we have too many Irish songs. What is that? Is there a lot of difference between Scottish and Irish songs?
Listen, most of the Irish songs were stolen from the Scots, and most of the Scots songs were stolen from the Irish. So you can't really say one or the other. I mean, people will argue Black and Blue that it was their song and not the others. There's probably more of that back home. You'll get a lot more of that stuff. Over here, people are just really happy to hear that stuff and hear it done well. We do a lot of festivals, and I think the difference is a lot of the Scottish tunes tend to be a little bit sadder, a little bit more of lost love and of lost islands and all this type of stuff. And the Irish tunes, on the whole, are a bit more upbeat. So we like to do both and blend both so that we can get people thinking and also get people dancing. That's kind of our main thing. So we don't have too much trouble with it, although certain Scottish gigs, depending on what football team they support, you might have to steer slightly away from the Irish stuff or slightly towards the Irish stuff. But that's a whole other conversation of Scottish background and Scottish football.
So in your case, Rangers or Celtic?
Well, I do Irish songs, so certainly the Celtic side of things.
Fair enough, understand it. Now, I guess then, because if you came here 4 years ago, I bet you came here because you fell in love, like a lot of us do.
I fell in love in London with an Australian, and we were there for. I was down there. I was working in finance until I moved over here. Actually, so I was down in London for 10 years, and then COVID hit, and we tried our damnedest to get out as quickly as we possibly could, and haven't looked back. So yeah, my wife's from Sydney. We've actually just moved down to Wollongong, so we're down that way now, just to get out of the city for a while. I grew up in small town Scotland, so cities don't really work well with me.
Now, in finance, but I guess then in Scotland, but that might have been a bit more of a hobby then. But I guess you were well into music in Scotland then too, weren't you?
No,
No.
I picked up my first instrument during COVID, and I started singing during COVID. I picked up an instrument because I've been dancing all my life, so I'm a dance teacher. I do bush dances, and we're convinced we're going to get the crowd at King Island to be doing what's called a Scottish Ceilidh dance. It's like a bush dance, and it'll
Are
be
you
a
going to
lot
get
of
them
fun.
fit?
Oh no, this is simple. We've taught 5-year-olds through to 95-year-olds, and we can teach them in 3 or 4 minutes how to do a dance. So we're going to do that. But that's been my background. I started teaching that at like 16, and I've done it throughout my life. But really, it came to COVID, and we fell pregnant. Well, I didn't. My wife did. And I thought, if I don't play an instrument, I won't sing with my kid. So I picked up a ukulele at the time, and it was only meant to be a hobby. But things took off. So when I moved over here, I got a couple of gigs because someone heard me singing in a back garden of my in-laws' house and asked me to come and play for a party. And ever since, it's just kind of taken off. And now, that's why meeting the two guys who've been playing together for so long, they've just been like mentors to me as well. So their background is of all sorts of music, so I've kind of learned from them, and it's why another reason I spend a lot of time over in Tassie. Just to, it's one of these things. You could go to university and study this stuff, but what I learn in a weekend from those guys, it would take me months and months to learn in a classroom. So it's been really useful, and that's where my journey kind of began. And now it's full time, which is a good place to be.
Now, have you ever then that you think, wow, COVID should have been in 1990, or I should have
Yeah.
started this a lot earlier, or
Oh, many times I've thought that. I fell into finance. Just it was just something that came up, um, and it's the one thing that now that I've got kids, I'm just trying to get them to pick up an instrument, any instrument. It doesn't matter, or sing, or just have it more in their life. I did a little bit of traveling, and I think back now, and I just wish that I had an instrument in my hand while I was doing that. The doors it opens for you, and not just that, but everything from mental health, just being able to sit in. If I'm struggling on a day, and I've had a mad day with the kids, I pick up a guitar or a uke and sit down, and half an hour later I feel a million times better. So yeah, I certainly
that
wish I'd
makes me
started it
almost
earlier.
think, Graham, that then I almost think if you had a bad day with the kids, you're doing Irish and Scottish songs. I would be more inclined then that you turn to heavy metal.
No, I need to stay calm. I need it to calm me down. That's why I sing all the old Scottish ones.
Okay,
And I get my kids singing along. That's the best part.
oh, I'm sure that. Now, hey, let's make a little change here because people are always well, they love to hear the story, of course, but they're probably going to say now, what do these guys sound like? What do they do? And I found one of your songs. I love Scottish and Irish music, so I'm not a good judge. I think it's great, and yeah, I always enjoyed it, particularly at parties, and yeah, always had fun. Now you come to King Island, and I thought you got a song out there called "Walking on the Waves." Well, how more appropriate, don't you think?
Absolutely, and that's one of our favourites to play. In fact, we've done it for a number of weddings for people walking down the aisle. It's a lovely, lovely song. So, um, And all the thing we do differently is we put 3-part harmonies into these things, and that's what kind of sets us apart. So you'll certainly hear that in that tune.
An island in the sunlight, laughter in the rain, a whiskey in the darkness. It all feels just the same. Watch the sunset over Heimish. See the twilight merge to the dawn. Hear the waves caress a shoreline as an island carries on. 'Cause I've been walking these shores all my days, but with you by my side I am walking on the waves. I've been walking these shores all my days, but with you by my side I am walking on the waves. There's two lovers on the marker, and they walk down to the sands. Their silhouettes are in the water as they paddle hand in hand. And it's a game of sweet surrender when there's nothing left to say. And there are moments to remember once these days are long away. 'Cause I've been walking these shores all my days, but with you by my side I am walking on the waves. I've been walking these shores all my days, but with you by my side I am walking on the waves. So you look out on the ocean, see the headlands and the strands, and you wonder what horizons will shape tomorrow's plans.
Hey folks, that was the Stovies and Walking on the Waves, and we're still talking with Graham McColgan, the lead man. Well, yeah, I call him the lead man, the singer playing the uke. And are you the lead man, Graham? Can we call it?
I don't know if I'd say that. I'm the one that does all the work to get the bookings, but outside of that, I wouldn't say I'm the lead man.
Yeah, well, put it this way: your background is finance, so
that's true. I suppose I should.
Now, we talked already about your bass player and your guitarist. Is that the band, or have you got more?
No, we've got another one. We've got a member of the band who slides in and out at times, but he's actually with us more often than not these days, which is a guy called James Gastineau Hills. James is a fiddle player based up in Sydney. He actually runs the Sydney Scottish Fiddlers. His main other band are a band called Kijaffe, are a fantastic Celtic band, absolutely brilliant. But I do a lot of work with James because he lived in Scotland for a few years, so he's got a real strong background in Scottish music. And when you let James loose on these tunes, something slightly special happens. You can see a little smile come over his face, and you know that something's coming. Because on that fiddle, he's something else. So he'll be joining us for the weekend, and he'll be the one that'll help me get all you guys up dancing.
Well, I'm sure that'll work. That no doubt about it. That what else is happening? You come to King Island. That any new songs in the making? Gigs happening? What's going on?
We do, and in fact, we are working on having a few new things ready for you when we get there. We're working on an album of all original songs at the moment. There's a few almost there. We'll be doing a little bit of a rehearsal of them at a festival the weekend before. We're playing at the National Multicultural Festival in Canberra. So we're getting together, get a good run through them. And you'll be one of the first ones to hear them when we get together in King Island. Certainly the first to hear them live. So there's a whole range of stuff, from a couple of old Scottish songs, a lot of fun. There's a song about whiskey, obviously, which we couldn't help but do a song about whiskey for us. But other than that, we're busy doing weddings and doing festivals at the moment. Weddings are a big part of our job right now.
Now, one of our little questions, Graham, that we often ask, in brutal honesty, before we approached you to perform at the festival, if somebody said to you King Island, what did you say?
Well, if you, in the last 12 months, I do know someone who played there. Was Pete Cornelius has been over? Is that right?
Yep, yep.
So that's the only thing I knew about King Island were two things: your cheese and your festival. But it's not something I knew much about. But when I said to the boys, we've been asked to come over, they bit my hand off. They're desperate to get over there. I think Neil's been over once, Bob. I don't think he's made it over to King Island. But it's right up our street. When you explained it's a community style festival, I mean that's just what we love. That's all, you know. We'd rather have people singing along with us than singing to people, and that's what we're going for here.
Well, that's also, you have to admit, Graham, it's also up to bands, because I've worked with a lot of bands over years, and I think it's also bands that have to interact with their audience, don't ignore their audience, talk to their audience and get them involved. Then that's how you create an atmosphere. It is a working together, isn't it? Audience and bands.
It can't be an us and them thing. That doesn't work. Or certainly doesn't work for me. I don't enjoy it. I've always I've explained this at a couple of gigs, and you know you'll know this. There's a point when you've got people singing along, and when a song ends, and there's a little moment, there's a little gap of silence before people clap or shout or whatever else, and that little moment where you've had a connection with people, it is just the best feeling in the whole world. It doesn't matter if the song went well or not. But that little moment where you've all finished together, you've all sang together, and suddenly you all go, oh, that was nice. Oh, well done. That's the best feeling in the whole world. It's got to be.
Mixed with a whiskey, I guess you couldn't go better.
Well, the whiskey comes after. For live gigs, we try and keep that under wraps. One before to get us going, and then a couple when we've done a successful gig. That's how we roll.
Well, we're not going to bite hands off, Graham, that's for sure. But yeah, we're looking forward to have you and the guys come and play with us, and get that audience going, and definitely teach them a new dance and have a lot of fun. We're going to welcome you soon.
I can't wait. We're really excited. Thanks so much.
Well, that's a nice finish, mate. I'm happy with that.